The Friday night rush at Rusty Creek Diner, a small roadside restaurant on the outskirts of Prescott, Arizona, was always loud, but tonight it felt different. The neon sign outside flickered, the jukebox hummed an old country song, and the smell of burgers and fresh coffee filled the air. But the atmosphere wasn't warm. Something tense, something ugly was brewing. Emily, a 24-year-old waitress with tired blue eyes and a soft voice, moved carefully between the tables. She'd been working double shifts for months, trying to keep up with bills after her mom's medical expenses piled up. Usually she smiled through anything, but tonight there was no smile, just fear. A bruise peeked from beneath her sleeve, and she kept her distance from one particular table. That table belonged to Rick Dalton, a local troublemaker known for drinking too much and tipping too little. He'd been kicked out of bars all around town, but the diner still served him because they couldn't afford trouble. Rick was already drunk when he walked in, slamming his fist on the counter, demanding service. Emily tried to stay professional, but the moment she brought him his plate, the trouble began. "You call this food?" Rick spat, grabbing her wrist. She winced. Other customers noticed, but no one stepped in, not yet. Rick shoved the plate aside and stood up, towering over her. "I should kick you out right now," Emily whispered, her voice trembling. "You kick me," he barked out a laugh. "How about I kick you first?" Her breath hitched, she backed up until her hip hit a table. Her hands shook, tears collected in her eyes. The diner grew silent, forks suspended midair, customers frozen. Rick lifted his boots slightly, mocking her fear. "Please, please don't kick me," Emily cried, her voice cracking in a way that pierced the entire room. That sentence, small, trembling, desperate, echoed through the diner like a siren. Before Rick could take another step, the bell above the door jingled. A man walked in. He wasn't from town. Everyone could tell by the way he carried himself, calm, steady, dangerous in a controlled way. A tall man with a leather jacket, boots dusty from a long ride, and a look in his eyes that could freeze anyone who meant harm. His presence alone shifted the energy in the room. His name, though no one knew it yet, was Cole Barrett, a former Marine turned long-distance biker, traveling across the Southwest to clear his head from the ghosts of combat. He had stopped only to grab a cup of coffee before heading back on the road. But the moment he saw Emily's tears and Rick's raised boot, something inside him snapped to attention. Cole didn't hesitate, he didn't ask questions, he simply stepped between them. The diner held its breath. Emily gasped. Rick stumbled slightly, surprised by the sudden wall of muscle blocking his path. And in that moment, everything changed. Cole Barrett stood tall between Emily and Rick, his stance calm but commanding. He didn't raise his voice, didn't puff his chest, he didn't need to. His presence alone felt like a warning. Rick froze, confused and irritated. "Who the hell are you?" he muttered, trying to steady himself. Cole didn't answer the question. Instead, he spoke gently, his eyes fixed on Emily's trembling hands. "You all right?" he asked, his voice low and steady. Emily nodded weakly, wiping her tears. I'm fine." But her voice said she was. Cole turned back to Rick, his tone sharpened, controlled, cold. "You're done here, sit down or walk out, but you're not touching her again." Rick scoffed, trying to act tough. "You think you can tell me what to do? This ain't your business, cowboy." Cole stepped forward just enough to make Rick feel small. "It became my business the moment you threatened her." The diner had gone silent. The cook peeked from the kitchen, families watched from booths, even the jukebox seemed to fade out. Rick puffed his chest, trying to recover his pride in front of an audience. He swung his hand toward Cole's shoulder. Big mistake. Cole moved like lightning. He grabbed Rick's wrist midair, twisted it gently but firmly, and guided him backward until the bully tripped into his own chair. It wasn't violence, it was control. A reminder that strength didn't need brutality. Rick winced. All right, let go." Cole released him without hesitation, but his voice stayed sharp. "You're leaving now." With the entire diner staring at him, judging him, Rick finally lost his nerve. He stumbled to his feet, mumbling curses, and pushed the door open. The bell jingled as he stormed out and peeled away in his truck. Silence lingered for a moment until an elderly woman in the corner clapped, then another, and another. Soon, the entire diner erupted in applause. Emily's shoulders slumped with relief. She covered her mouth, tears welling again, but this time they weren't from fear. She looked at Cole. "Thank you, you didn't have to do that." Cole's expression softened. "Yeah, I did." The cook brought out a free coffee for Cole and a fresh slice of pie for Emily, insisting it was on the House for Heroes. Cole chuckled but took the coffee anyway. Emily sat across from him, still shaky but finally breathing normally. "You saved me," she whispered. Cole shook his head. "No, you just needed someone to stand up with you, that's all." They talked for a while about her mom's health, her long shifts, her fear of losing her job. Cole listened, really listened, something she wasn't used to. Before leaving, Cole placed a folded note and $100 bill under his cup. Emily picked it up after he walked outside. The note read, "You deserve kindness, don't let anyone make you believe otherwise." Emily pressed the note to her chest as Cole's motorcycle rumbled to life. The stranger rode away. But the memory of that night stayed with everyone who witnessed it. Because for the first time in a long time, someone chose courage over silence, and it changed everything.